Hello YouTubers and fellow Whovians, and once again welcome to another Doctor Who DVD review. As you can see, today I shall be taking a look at the Dalek War Boxed Set, which contain two classic stories from 1973, which are Frontier in Space and Planet of the Daleks. So first off, let's take a look at the cover of the main box, and it's all black. You've got all these green roundels as if it's in the TARDIS console room. You've got the Doctor Who logo, nice and reflective there. You can see my hand reflected there. There you go. And I have Dalek War. Nice font, nice text, the way they've done it. And this, of course, is the first time ever that the Doctor Who DVD range ever had this BBC logo, because before then we were just used to an old standard BBC logo without all the purple and all of that. So this was like when it all changed and when BBC started rebranding stuff and all that type of stuff. It was basically just before Matt Smith became the 11th Doctor. It was late 2009 and Matt Smith, of course, took over in 2010. So it was around then, just before David Tennant left as the 10th Doctor. The main cover has Jon Pertwee right in the middle, and you've got like all this circular stuff going around as if it's some sort of radar, or it might actually be the eye stalk of a Dalek, come to think of it. But now you've got all these leaves coming off as well. This is the leaves that you see on the planet Spiridon, or Spiridon, however you want to pronounce it, as you see in Planet of the Daleks. We have the Master, the best Master out of them all, Roger Delgado, absolute perfection. Last story, Frontier in Space. It's such a real shame. We have the leader of Draconians. We have the two Daleks with the Dalek Supreme taking centre stage in the middle, all threatening, all powerful and almighty. And the text here, so it's all in green. I think it fits the whole jungle theme going on. And at the bottom, it just gives you a brief description about the box set, these two stories, saying the Third Doctor and Jo Grant face the combined might of the Daleks and the Master in these two classic 1973 adventures. This is a 4-disc set, everybody. So both of these stories, both the DVDs for these stories, have 2 discs. And speaking of the DVDs, let's take a closer look at them. First off, we have Frontier in Space. This is a more of a purpley look. You've got the Master. It's just the same image of the Master that you see on the front cover of the actual box set. We've got the Doctor without his jacket. We have the Draconian at the centre. We have these 2 planets, which are the 2 planets that are visited in this story. We have Jo Grant, which oddly looks a bit ginger on this cover. I thought she looked a bit blonde in this story, but there you go. We have an Ogron. The Ogrons making their return appearance for the first time since Day of the Daleks, although they did make a brief cameo in the previous story to this, which was Carnival of Monsters. We have the spaceship, which you see throughout this 6-part story, and we have this shadowy thing. I wonder what this could be. So overall, really good cover. I really like this cover. It's one of my favourite covers. I think the covers got better over time as the DVD range got on, and I think this is a prime example of the covers when they were at their best. And as I said before, this is a 2-disc set. So we'll turn it around, and you can see I've got Planet of the Daleks ready behind there. We have the spine there, it's nice and purple, it's in space, as if it's in deep space or something like that. And this story was written by Malcolm Hulke, who's already at this point written some really good stories, such as Doctor Who and the Silurians. What else he wrote? The Sea Devils. So he was already an established good writer. It is the year 2450, and a fragile peace exists between the great empires of Earth and Draconia. The TARDIS materializes aboard an Earth cargo ship which comes under attack. Arrested and accused of espionage, the Doctor is sentenced to life imprisonment on the Moon. But salvation arrives in an unexpected form. Can the Doctor and Jo stop the Master's plans to provoke a galactic war and reveal the deadly enemy waiting for the chance to destroy both empires? Special features include a commentary by Katy Manning, Mary Letts, Terence Dix, moderated by Clayton Hickman. The perfect scenario, Lost Frontier, in the far future, Zed, a young scenario smith, turns to the world of Doctor Who to help him connect to his audience, including interviews with Vera Fusek, who played the president in this story. And it's good that we had a woman playing the president in this story. It's set in the future. It should happen. Michael Hawkins, who played General Williams. The Space War. Cast and crew look back at the making of the story. Roger Delgado, The Master, a biography of actor Roger Delgado, featuring unseen photographs, rare excerpts from his TV appearances and interviews with those who knew and loved him. This is easily the best feature out of this DVD, because I'll tell you why, because it tells you, well, basically it describes what it says. It talks about his life, and it's really sad, like when they start talking about his tragic death in Turkey and that car crash, his untimely death, because they had a lot of plans for the Master in Jon Pertwee's final season. It would have been his final story, and it would have been revealed as the Doctor's brother. So it's a real shame that this is actually the last story featuring Roger Delgado's Master. But thankfully, the character was brought back a few years later in Deadly Assassin, one of my favourite stories of all time. Stripped for Action, Third Doctor, a series looking at the Doctor's comic book adventures, reaches its third incarnation. PDF materials, radio time listing, blah blah blah. All the stuff you come to expect now. Easter egg, photo gallery coming soon, digitally remastered picture and sound. The story was originally broadcast on BBC One between the 24th of Feb and 31st of March 1973, which was of course Doctor Who's 10th anniversary year. Produced by Barry Letts, directed by Paul Bernard, sleeve text by Sue Crawley and covered by Clayton Hickman. The runtime for this is 143 minutes. It's 2 hours and 23 minutes, meaning that this is a long story. This is 6 episodes, so if you can bear that long, then this is for you. And there we have more of the pictures. There's a disc 1, there's a disc 2. Now, I'll give my brief thoughts on the DVD release. I think this is an excellent DVD release. It's great that it came with Planet of the Daleks, which is a fan favourite, I believe. Frontier in Space, it's probably the lesser remembered out of these two stories. I don't know why. I think this is quite an underrated story in my opinion. And I know it sounds mad. Some will disagree with me. I prefer this to Carnival of Monsters. I think this is just a good story, especially with the inclusion of Roger Delgado, the Master. Yeah, he only appears about halfway through the story, and the story kind of has a little bit of a slow start. Don't get me wrong, it does have a slow start, but as soon as Roger Delgado appears in episode 3, I think it's episode 3, when he appears, that's when the story truly kicks off, and especially in the final parts of the story, when you find out who the true enemy is, and judging by the title of the box set, I think you know already who the enemy is. So overall, I think this is a good story, and I think it's really good that they included it with Planet of the Daleks, because you know, if you're a Doctor Who fan, you know that these two connect in some way. These stories connect, and originally I believe this was meant to be a 12-part epic similar to the Daleks Master Plan, which came out in 1966. But I think everyone just sees this as two 6-part stories now. And I think with Roger Delgado, it's truly underappreciated, and the special features on this DVD release, you can't go amiss really, and the highlight of the special features is easily the Roger Delgado documentary. So if you get this, I would strongly recommend that you check out that documentary if you're a fan of his master, like I am. And moving on to the second DVD in this box set, it is of course Planet of the Daleks, which is directly straight after Frontier in Space, no gaps in between. So on this cover we have again the jungles of Spiridon, which you saw a little bit on the actual front cover of this box set. You have these flares going about here. I believe that's Spiridon itself, and you've just got a few shapes here as well, and there was a few shapes on the Frontier in Space cover as well. It just follows the same pattern really. We have an actual Spiridon there, which is just basically a bloke inside this rug. I don't know. They probably ran out on the budget there, seeing as they spent a lot on the Daleks on this. We have Jon Pertwee and a Thal. That's right, Thals are in the story, pushing a Dalek, and this is one of the most famous parts of this story. The fact that they push the Thal, the Dalek, into this sort of pool, and it's really funny. And there we have the Supreme Dalek, looking absolutely fantastic. One thing to note, this is a U, whereas Frontier in Space was a PG. Quite interesting. So here we have the side. Not as much going on in this spine. It's black at first glance, so you can see a bit of green in there from the jungles and stuff. And this was written by Terry Nation. This is the first time that Terry Nation have wrote for Doctor Who since the Daleks Master Plan. Absolutely great that he came back to do this, because he's, again, one of my favourite writers, just as Malcolm Hulke is. TARDIS arrives on Spiridon, in an inhospitable planet where the vegetation is hungry and extremely dangerous. I just want to point out, inhospitable, that's what I meant to say. The Doctor had been badly hurt and has fallen into a coma, so it's up to his concerned assistant, Joe, to leave the safety of the TARDIS to find help. He soon discovers a jungle containing invisible creatures, and that the planet is hiding a terrible secret about the Doctor's old enemy, the Daleks. And here in the white, this little white bit here, it says, since the mid-1970s, episode 3 of the story has only been available as 16mm black and white film recording, but for this DVD release, it has been returned to full colour. Hurrah! Commentary by Katy Manning again. Prentice Hancock played Weber, Tim Priest, Codal, Barry Letts, producer, Terence Dix, who was a script editor. The perfect scenario, the end dreams, continuing his search for inspiration, Zed resumes his studies of Doctor Who, including interviews with Jane Howe, Janet Fielding, who played Tegan in the Peter Davison era, and at the end of the Tom Baker era as well, Bernard Horsfall, who played Taron, A Rumble in the Jungle. Cast and crew look back at the making of the story, multicolorization, a documentary about the new colour restoration of episode 3, Strip for Action, the Daleks, the ongoing series looking at the Doctor's comic book adventures, and this time it focuses on his deadliest foes, the Daleks. And we have Blue Peter, I love these ones, 2 items from the long-running children's programme featuring an appeal for information on the theft of 2 Daleks from the BBC. Who on earth did that? Rascals. Radio Times Billings, production information subs. We have the photo gallery, Easter egg, and a digitally remastered picture and sound quality. The story was originally broadcast on BBC One between 7th of April and 12th of May 1973, produced by Barry Letts, directed by David Maloney. And the length of this is 140 minutes. And the sleeve text is by Maury Lang, and the cover is by Clayton Hickman. Inside, there's all the info, behind the scenes info about the story. I love these leaflets. I've said that in past reviews though. And that's disc 1, and that's disc 2. Disc 1, disc 2. Overall, what do I think of Planet of the Daleks? Well, I think Planet of the Daleks is a great story, and it's one of the best Jon Pertwee stories in my opinion. I just like everything about this story, all the continuity references to the very first Dalek story. I won't give too much away, you'll have to watch it for yourself, but it's kind of like a sequel to the Daleks in some sort of way. If you watch the story, you might get what I mean. And I just feel that it's a good Dalek story. I feel the Daleks are strong in there. We've got the Supreme Dalek in here, which is actually just a reused prop from the 1960s Peter Cushing Doctor Who movies, but we don't talk about them because they are not canonical in the Doctor Who universe. Sorry Peter, you're a good actor and all, but you're not a doctor. And I think that this story is great. Out of the two stories, Frontier in Space, Planet of the Daleks, I don't know which one I prefer, to be honest. I like both of them in their own way. I think I like them equally. And I think they're both brilliant stories. And I think that the Daleks are really good in this. I think this, Planet of the Daleks, is better in terms of quality than Day of the Daleks, because with Day of the Daleks, the quality of the Daleks was not all that great. The only way you could truly enjoy that story a bit more is if you watched the special edition on the second disc of that DVD release. But yeah, I think Planet of the Daleks is great, and especially with the colorization, what they've done on episode 3, I think everyone who worked on that did a marvellous job. So overall, brilliant. And that's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed my review of the Dalek War Boxed Set. I would definitely recommend that you pick it up if you're a fan of the Daleks, if you're a fan of the classic series, and you're a fan of Jon Pertwee or Katy Manning as Third Doctor, Joe Grant. If you're a fan of the Master, then what are you waiting for? Pick this up. 2 great stories in this box set. 2 Dalek stories. Whether you class Frontier in Space as Dalek stories is another thing, but we've got the Master and the Daleks the first time they met up, and of course with Series 9, the opener, the Master and the Daleks team up once again. So yeah, definitely get this box set. Can't fault it at all, one bit. I will definitely get it. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and until next time, cheerio. Don't forget to click the link below to subscribe to me, James Croft, aka the Obsesstuvian 95. Have a great day.